Hello and welcome to this week's class. We are going to get started with our warm-up today. I'm with Summer once again and Matt. They introduced themselves in our last class that they did with us. We're going to get right into sumo squats. We're going to be doing that for 1 minute. On sumo squats, guys, and all these exercises that we do for a whole minute, that doesn't seem like a lot of time until you start doing it, and then it is a lot of time. And I always say that if you can just keep going, just don't stop, would be great. If you have to do a half of a push-up or go to your knees for a push-up, or do half of a squat, whatever, but try to keep going the whole entire minute. But on a sumo squat, the most important thing is I'm going to keep my back straight so that when I squat down, I'm not hunching over at any point. What I do is I take my fingers and go all the way to the mat so I can just kind of brush my fingertips onto the mat, and so that obviously we'll dip a little bit below parallel, and I'm just going to try to keep my back straight as if I'm pinching a wallet between my shoulder blades, and I'm just touching like this and going over and over again. Okay, so we're going to do that on the bell for 1 whole minute. Sumo squats. Go! So they're pacing themselves. They know they're in for a long one today, so. "20 seconds down." At least they're not squat jumps. Could always be worse. We're halfway done now. Hopefully you've done at least 70 or so. Just kidding. 20 seconds left, and then we're going to go to running in place. When we're running in place, all I want you to do is just bouncing a little bit. It's no big deal. You don't have to sprint in place, just kind of jogging in place. And then when I say base, we're going to go down like this, as if we're basing in space for a bear hug, which is one of the things that we're going to be covering today. And time. So like I said, guys, we're just going to be bouncing down, up and down just like this. We're jogging. And then when I say base, we're going to go down just like that. So just as if I've done a bear hug on you, and you got to base in space first. So on the bell, we're going to do that for a whole minute. Ready? Go. Just bouncing and base. Just like that. Keep going. Keep going. So when I say base, you're just going to base out really quick and then get right back to jogging. And base. Be sure you're following along at home. Base. Keep going. Keep going. Base. And then base. Keep going. Almost halfway done. Base. Go. Go. Keep going. Keep going. Base and hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Everybody hold it. Hold it. Couple more seconds and keep going. 20 seconds to go. Base. Keep going, keep going. Immediately get right after it. Base. And base. Hold it, hold it, hold it. This is an isometric squat. And time. That was the end of our minute. So now we're going to do some lower body stretches. So now you can squat all the way down and push out on the inside of your thighs. At least this isn't an isometric squat. You actually get to relax a little bit. And we're just stretching. Now I want you to go ahead and put one knee down, and we're just going to lean forward. We can extend this stretch or make it a little bit more by going up with that same side arm. I don't want to say more severe, but we can make it a little bit deeper. We can deepen the stretch, as the yoga people say, the yogis. Now it's slowly switch. You can raise that same side arm of the leg that you're stretching, hip flexor muscle. Very good. Now let's switch back. So we've got the original leg. Now I just want you to kind of collapse on that leg and lean forward. So keeping your head above your heart, just kind of leaning forward on that leg, on the outside of your leg. Very nice. Now let's slowly come up and switch. Yep. Breathing deeply. Okay, now let's come up on all fours. And it's kind of like downward dog, but I'm just kind of up on my fingers and I'm keeping my head up above my heart. And this is specifically to stretch the calf. So only one calf at a time. My other leg is just relaxing. And now let's go ahead and switch. Extend that all the way, as deep as you can. And now just slowly alternate side to side. Good. Very nice. A few more seconds. And pop up for me. Now we're going to be kind of doing like the chamber of a crescent kick. I'm going to bring my knee towards my other knee and then up and around. But I might as well be in a good stance the whole time, so I'm just swinging my leg. Go. Just one leg. Just one leg. Towards the other leg, up and around. Back to your stance. And switch. New stance. Other rear leg now. Couple more. And time. So now we're going to be moving on to star push-ups. These are some of my favorites. So instead of being like this, I'm going to be way spread out as much as I can so my legs are super wide and so are my hands. And the most common mistake on this is people go way up here like this. I want you to still be as level as you can, keeping your abs tight. And then I'm just going to be doing push-ups. Okay, so let's go ahead and do star push-ups. We're going to do these for 30 seconds. And again, like I said at the beginning, don't stop. If you really feel the burn, then just do half of a push-up or go to your knees or something. But we're going to do this for 30 seconds on the bell. Go. As wide as you can. Good. Just at a good pace. Oh, Matt's just going to get right after it. He's going to try to set a new record. We got 20 more seconds. Job, Summer. Keep going. 10 seconds. And time. Good job. Go ahead and stand up for me, please. Now let's stretch one arm across. Stretch the other arm across. Let's cross them for the last 10 seconds. You can roll them if you want. All right, that is our warm-up for today, so we're going to get straight into our first lesson. The first lesson that we're going to be talking about, this is punch avoidance as opposed to blocking punches, and so it's going to be the bob and weave. So if Matt is doing a looping punch, like he's trying to hit me on the side of the head, now this might be a good trained punch, or it might be just a big wild haymaker, whatever the case might be. My goal is to go underneath it. So there's a big difference between blocking or jamming. When I'm here in a 360 block, or I bursting style 360 and I punch him at the same time, big difference between that or absorbing it and then trying to go underneath it like this, okay? So when I do a bob and weave, really this is more, I call it a bob and weave, but it's really more of a shoulder roll. An old school Western boxing bob and weave is a lot more upright because they're not concerned with clinching and with knees and elbows and grappling, all that kind of good stuff, but we've got to be prepared for everything. So what I would really like for everybody to do is have that shoulder pointing at their opponent and then rolling underneath. So I don't want to look at the ground. That's the most common mistake that I see here. If he comes here and then I look at the ground, I'm definitely going to eat a knee, but I'm also off balance. So I'm going to be squatting down a lot, keeping my back straight, and rolling my shoulders as I do it. So if he's throwing his overhand right haymaker, I'm coming out like this. Another important detail is when I do this, if I just bob and weave, if I'm here and I just go like this, I didn't get far enough outside, and so I'm definitely going to eat that next one. So you gotta think, in a real altercation, what are the chances that somebody just tries to do one punch and then just stands there, just praying that the punch did well? If somebody's going to attack you for whatever reason, because they're super angry, they're super drunk, whatever the case might be, it's probably going to be a vicious, violent attack if they're throwing these haymakers, right? So we need to be able to not only get out of range for their next strike, because we don't want to eat that next one, but it's Krav Maga. So the moment that we deal with the first attack, which in this case the first attack is him trying to hit me, well now I'm the attacker. So I'm going to immediately be hitting him, taking the fight to him, and then I'm done. So in order to get far enough outside the range of his striking, I need to take what I call a cheat step. It's like I'm cheating. I'm taking a little step over to the side so that way I can have a lot of lateral motion. So watch the difference. I'm here versus I take a little step and I'm way on the outside. So I'm stepping and dragging, having good footwork. So if Matt is attacking Summer now, he's throwing this right. She's going to step outside so she's got lots of lateral movement. So I want you to move that left foot up. Yes, very nice. And now let's go ahead and add, just because we're never defenders all the way. We're always going to be attackers. So I want you to just simulate like a power slap or a left hook, just because that would be your immediate response. So I'm here, and then I'm just going to throw it. Just fake it. Boom. You can actually slap him a little bit if you want to. That's okay with me. Good. Keep going. And let's specifically practice the power slap, actually. So open hand instead of, yeah. Bang.
Because of sound effects.
Yes. Sound effects do make your strikes more effective. Proven science. Just kidding. Not everybody knows my humor, so I have to make sure to really clarify when I'm joking. Okay, time. So let's talk about a couple of different things going on here. So let me borrow Summer. So Matt, you can stand over here if you don't mind. So Summer would never attack me, but if she did, again, I need to be way on the outside, and then I need to throw a follow-up. So when I'm talking about follow-up here, if I make somebody avoid a punch, if I avoid somebody's punch, so I make them miss, what I'm counting on is they're definitely going to be far out of position unless they're a really good trained kickboxer or a boxer. Hopefully those people don't go around attacking people. If they did, it's going to be a different scenario, but still, if I do my technique properly, it doesn't matter. So what I mean by that is if she throws this and she's intending on hitting me, she might even fall over if she had all of her weight behind it, but she's certainly going to be outside like this. But I still don't want to step right back in front of her because she could just accidentally hit me even if she doesn't really know what she's doing. So when I step out on the outside, I'm pointing my left shoulder at her just so I can really get the shoulder roll. So I'm protecting my jaw with my shoulders at all times. But I'm here, I'm rolling underneath, and then as I throw my counter, I'm going to still be on the outside. So I'm not stepping back in front of her, I'm still on the outside. Now look at what my targets are here. If I'm looking at this part, I would love to hit her in the jaw. That would be fantastic, right? But I've got the skull. This part of the skull is good to hit. The ear causes a lot of pain. That's great. But there's also a lot of hard skull here, okay? So if I throw a punch, especially if I accidentally glance up this way or accidentally hit with my pinky knuckle or my ring finger knuckle, that wouldn't feel great. And I want to still be in the fight. Now, I might not even feel it with adrenaline, but I don't want to injure myself either. So that's why I'm specifically saying let's do a power slap. If I reach so that the end of my palm or the beginning of my fingers are somewhere around her ear, that usually means that the heel, the good hard heel, is going to be right near the jaw, so that's going to do a lot of damage. So what I specifically want you guys to practice, the bob and weaver shoulder roll, and then I'm here, and then I'm circling off to her dead side. I would never circle to the live side because that's where all the punches and power is, okay? So let's do that, and let's do it back and forth. So Matt is the attacker first. We're just specifically practicing a right haymaker and then a defense. So now, yep, so you're striking. Right haymaker.
Okay.
Yeah. Haymaker, just the slang term, it means somebody's just really trying to knock you out with the right hand. Most people are right-handed. Not all people. Matt, for example, is not right-handed. But we like him anyway. Nice. I like how I circle into the dead side a lot there. That's good. Be sure you stay close enough to actually make contact, and then we can continue circling off. Boom. Now it's actually made contact. So we're not going to slap each other. We're just going to touch, just like I was doing earlier. Well, yeah, there's a little bit of pop there, but that's okay. Because then you'll notice, like, okay, when I actually made contact, I hit the very back of the head at the top, which isn't a great place to hit, because we want to do some damage. I want to, again, if I can get the heel of my hand on the jaw, that would be fantastic. Yeah. Good. Okay, time. So I want to do one more drill with this, but this brings up an important concept. In Krav Maga, one of the biggest differences in our classes from other more traditional martial arts is we don't want to train ourselves to reach a target and then stop. So that's why, and sometimes we absolutely have to based on what we're practicing, but if I can help it, I don't want to train myself to go like this, to go like almost to the target and then stop and pull back or whatever. So if I can't really, that's why we punch past the head, but because if I really punch him as hard as I can and I follow through, it's going to be like punching past the head. In a real fight, in a real confrontation or whatever, where I'm forced to defend myself by attacking my opponent violently and viciously, per the philosophy and principles of Krav Maga, I'm going to be looking at his face. If I want to cause pain or I know that I need to cause a lot of damage, I'm going to be looking at his face. I'm not going to miss, okay? So some people say this is going to, in itself, develop a training scar. I say absolutely not. You're going to be looking at your intended target and you're not going to purposely miss. I'm going to look at it and I hit it. In training, I look past the head because my intended target is slightly past the head because I know that I'm training. We're in a safe environment where we all like each other, and so we're practicing here. So I don't want to be like this. So if I can't really punch past the head, I don't want to practice missing too much. So I'm just going to be here, and now I'm actually I'm just making contact. And so I know based on my body positioning and his body positioning, our relative location to each other, that would have been a good strike, right? And so now we're going to do the other hand. So now if she's throwing a left hook, he's going to come off to the right, and then boom. So when it's our right hand, that's going to usually be our back hand because our right foot is back. So that's going to be more of a straight cross than it is an overhand or something like that. But we just need to make contact. So we're just going to weave the other way now. We always go towards the arm that's coming towards you. Go ahead. Yep. So whichever arm is coming towards you, that's the side that you go to. Keep going. Yep, and then make contact. You're not going to hurt it.
Okay.
Boom. So he's going to do it again. We're doing 2 for 2. Boom. Nice. Now you strike him. Or no. Yeah. You're striking now. You're acting like she's messing up. We're doing 2 for 2, so you strike at her twice now. Boom, yes. You got to communicate with your partners. No big deal. Boom. Okay. Now she's striking. Boom. Now she's going to strike again. I'm going to help you guys out here since you obviously need it.
I count.
Hey. There we go. Boom. Okay, so that brings up something that I'd like to address here. When somebody's striking at me and I can see that it's a looping punch, now again, if I'm in a good defensive position, even if he makes contact with me, he's not going to knock me out, okay? Because I'm tight enough. As I get closer and closer to somebody, my defensive position gets tighter and tighter. If I'm way out here like this, it's never a fantastic idea to have your hands down, but if I'm this far away from him, I'm fairly confident that he's too far away to hit me. As I get closer and closer and closer, I'm going to need to be tighter and tighter to where if I'm this close, I'm literally kind of covering with both of my hands. I'm keeping my elbows in and protecting my ribs because we're almost in a clinch range there, okay? So as I'm here and he throws his punch, again, if he hits me, it's going to glance off the top of my head. It's not going to feel great, but it's not going to knock me out. I always need to go towards the hand that's coming at me. I don't want to face it, though. I don't want to be here because then I'm going to have to do a lot more of a duck. So essentially, this part of my body is going to be dipping underneath. So I'm rolling my shoulders here. So I'm dipping my shoulder underneath, then my head coming out, and then I'm loaded up. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what it would be, but we're just practicing 1 for 1 right now. So let's do this a couple more times. Let's have Summer only be the attacker, and let's do right hand haymaker. Okay? Couple of times. Roll underneath, boom. And let's go ahead and add more follow-ups actually. Let's do Boom, and then over. Yeah. Couple more times. Awesome. One more. Very good. Okay, time. So now we're going to be moving right into the front bear hug. On the front bear hug, there's the main variable here is, are my arms trapped or are they free? So front bear hug, you always have to think about why somebody would do this and what the main threat is, essentially. Okay. So if my hands are free, this is a big difference from hands being trapped. We're going to go over arms being trapped first. So we have to think, because there's no weapon involved, the way that we deal with this is, number one, we address the immediate threat, so we have to neutralize the immediate threat. The immediate threat in a bear hug, it's not being squeezed really hard, it's not anything like that. It's actually more often than not going to be being picked up and dumped on your head, taken down, slammed into the wall, whatever the case might be, right? He's in front of me, so he's probably not holding me for somebody else. Maybe he is. But what I really don't want to have happen is him pick me up, and then dump me on the ground. Now, go ahead and pick me up again. Okay, one more time. Now watch what he does with his hips. He has to get his hips close to me in order to pick me up off the ground. So to address that immediate threat, I'm going to base in space. So I make sure there's space between his hips and mine. If he can't get his hips close to me, he would have to pick me up like this. So he would essentially have to be using the small of his back to pick up a heavy weight, which is me, and that's going to hurt his lower back. He's not going to be able to, but even if he did it would really hurt him. So I'm going to make sure that there's space, but I'm also going to base my body out. So just like we were practicing in our warm-up, when we base out, what I like to do is actually stagger my legs. I don't want to be like this, because if he was already driving forward, I'm not going to stop him from doing that. So I'm going to stagger my legs when I base out. So I'm going to be here, and then at the same time, I'm making space between his hips and mine. I don't want to have my thumbs out because I don't want to hurt myself. I'm going to keep my thumbs close to my hands, and I'm going out here. So I've got a wider base than I had. If I'm just standing neutral, this is how close my feet are. I'm super wide. One foot is staggered back, so if he is driving forward, I've got something to resist with here. I'm making lots of space, and then I'm actually using my head almost like a third point of base. I'm making my face and my ear really heavy, so I'm way out here like this. So I've definitely neutralized his ability to pick me up and dump me. Now it's going to be to deliver vicious and violent flowing combatives, logical combatives to logical places, right? So what I mean by that is, if this were a back bear hug, I could do a scorpion kick, but that makes no sense here, so they have to be logical combatives to logical places. If I'm here, boom, my favorite thing to do is to go straight into a kick. Now I've got to make sure that my head is really heavy, because as I take this point of base off the mat, I want to be sure that I'm counterbalancing. So I can go here, here. He's definitely going to let me go at that point. I can kind of elbow my way out, go straight into a side clinch, and throw lots of good follow-up combatives, whatever they might be, and then I'm out of there. So, we don't have to have specific combative combinations in order to practice these defenses. They just have to be logical combatives, as I said, to logical places. But more often than not, when you're first getting started, if you're trying to mix it up as much as possible, you might end up throwing some stupid combatives and not getting out of the defense, not defending effectively, or not getting out of the attack rather. And so a good one to practice is simply base in space, kick, break out of here, boom, and then just get out. So one more time. Base in space immediately. If I wait until his hips are this close to me, I'm not going to be able to overpower him. He's got the drop on me. He's got the leverage. He's bigger and stronger than me. I can't let that happen. The moment I see him coming in, I'm already getting here. So if he can't even wrap his arms up around me, that's fantastic. So let's just go groin kick. Let's come out. We can punch to the face or palm heel, give him a knee, and then push to disengage. Okay? So I'm going to have you attack Summer now. We're going to base in space first. Good. Now let's throw a groin kick with that back leg. It's important that we throw with the back leg, not the front. Now let's come off to more of a side clinch, palm heel, and then knee. And now push away, and we're up here. Yes. So a big training scar that we can develop is as soon as she comes to attack me, I'm here, and then I do all my stuff, and then I just kind of stop like this and walk away, and I wait to be attacked again. Don't do that. We always disengage, and we're here, and we're ready to go again, and then I'll go back to my passive stance. So, Matt, I'm going to have you attack Summer a couple more times. Hit. Yeah, still up. Now let's trade positions. Matt's still the attacker. Yeah. Now let's add a little bit of intensity to it. Get him. Okay, good. So now let's, I like to kind of layer through my defenses. So that's the whole entire defense. Now let's talk about a couple things that can go wrong here and things that we really need to watch out for. So as preemptive as I can possibly be, that's the better off I'm going to be. So if I'm situationally aware, nobody should be able to get close enough to me to wrap me up in a bear hug because they're in front of me. If I see that he's coming towards me, I should be like, hey, what's going on here? I should be already putting my fence up, putting up a barrier between me and him. My hands are open, implying I don't want to fight. I'm stepping back. I'm ready to go. If he gets closer to me, I'm going to kick him and run away or whatever. So I should be situationally aware. But if he's close and we're talking, maybe he doesn't appear like he's attacking me, and then he goes to bear hug me. Again, as preemptive as I can be, the better. And then he can't grasp his hands. But if he really gets the drop on me and he's already able to actually close his hands, hopefully I'm going to be able to make sure that his hips are far enough away that he can't pick me up, because then obviously we would be in a grappling scenario. But I would want to be way out here, or sorry, go ahead and grab him. I'd want to be way out here like this. I would want to be throwing good combatives. But now when I go to come out, if he's still grabbing, there's something that I need to do here specifically. So let's go over to this side. So let's say I'm here like this. Okay, I've already delivered a good strong groin kick. Now most people's reaction to getting kicked in the groin really hard while they're grabbing you should be to let go. They're like, ow, that hurts, so I'm going to get away from this person. That's pretty logical, but just in case he's a crazy person and his instinct is to actually just squeeze tighter, okay? There's two things that I'm going to do here. Number one, as I turn really, really hard, I'm going to throw a number 4 elbow as if there's somebody behind me. My goal is to get close to his wrist, where his grip is, to start to break that. And then at the same time, I'm going to be coming up with an overhook really hard. So as I'm turning, I'm going to be doing number 4 and then a big overhook at the same time. So really it's 3 things. So I'm going here. That busts me out of here, and now I can deliver a good hit. I can punch him in the jaw because I can see his jaw. It's a really easy target. I can also palm heel strike. I can kick and get out of there. Okay? Now, if those are really good, effective strikes, he should fall over. I mean, he should be pretty well incapacitated. But we always have to hope for the best and plan for the worst. So I'm always disengaging up here nice and high. Okay? Hands nice and high. Okay. Yeah. Bust out of there. Boom. And now we're out. Awesome. That was great. Let's switch sides. Hit a couple times and get out of there. Yep. Good. Now, and so as I was saying, people shouldn't get this close to you. If you're really learning Krav Maga and you've kind of adopted that lifestyle, you're not paranoid. You're not walking around in a fighting stance all the time, but you're also aware of what's going on around you. And so I like to do drills where we practice this defense, but also we do some awareness drills where as they get closer, I can get off, I can kick or do whatever. We're just going straight for the bear hug today because that's what we're teaching right now. But just do be aware of that. So as you're practicing, if I see, I can go here. If it gets closer, I can kick away. I can disengage. Whatever the case might be. So I want to do this just a couple more times, and now I want you to pay special attention to. Matt is going to try to actually grab his hands. But Summer is going to try to be so preemptive with her base and space here that he's not able to close his hands. Okay? I think you'll be surprised at how often he can actually get his hands like claps together. Okay? Okay, so I know you're getting beat up here, Matt, but do your best to really try to grab your hands, okay? And hey, don't let him, okay? Don't let him, Summer. Yeah. That's why you gotta have a good wide base right there. Kick. Boom. Yeah. Good, good. Switch sides. Strong base, strong frame. Good. Nice. Yes. Good. So as we practice our defenses, you have to add a little bit more resistance, a little bit more intensity, and just keep adding that. Now, if they're attacking you so hard that you can't do anything, obviously they need to tone it down a little bit. We have to learn the proper defense first, establish that good foundation before we can really just go wild with it. But oftentimes, if we're practicing something specific like that, I can tell my partner, like, hey, I want to be sure that you can't really grab your hands because you're a lot bigger and stronger than me, and I feel like if you did get that, I would be in a tough spot. So I really want, like, that's the first thing we want to do. And if we do that, we've addressed, getting picked up, getting taken down like that. And then with good, vicious, violent combatives, nobody's going to just sit there and hold on to you. I mean, if you're really hitting them all over the place, they're going to let go. You're going to be good. So that's the front bear hug defense. We can always practice that where I'm standing with my eyes closed and then they attack me. One other variable here is that if he grabs really low, like way beneath my elbows, this is going to be extra hard for me to get out of. So when I base in space, I'm going to have to pay special attention to dropping my weight down as I come out, and now I can't even reach here, but I do have the small of my back to really roll out. Okay, so that's another big variable. Or if he grabs me up high, we have to look at all those. So now let's take a look at front bear hug, arms free. Okay, now if he grabs me arms free, maybe because I already had my fence up, I was already like, hey, I don't like how close you are to me, whatever the case might be, and then he's here. Now this is going to be, again, it's going to be almost difficult for me to avoid all of this awesome stuff that I have available to me at first. Because at first you're going to be like, oh, this is easy, I'm just going to tear his ear off. Well, if he's taking you down, you're not going to be able to do that. If he gets you off balance and off your feet, then you're going to have to worry about your head being slammed onto the concrete or whatever the case might be. So I still have to, first things first, I base in space. I want to make myself as heavy on him as possible, get my hips out as far as possible. It's just like a sprawl. Right? If you were going to try to shoot in on a double leg here, I'm going to sprawl out like that. Same thing here. As he tries to grab me, I'm here, way out. My hips are as far out as possible. Now, depending on how low he gets, that's going to change what combatives are available to me. My personal favorite defense is as I'm here, I can kick. And by the way, it's going to be, some people are going to be really, they're wanting to hit with this front leg, but I can't do that because if it gets on the inside, he can trip me, and I'm crossing my feet up a little bit. I'm crossing them up with his feet, but also I can never use my front leg for downstairs combatives when I'm in a clinching range like this. If I do this, it's just too easy for him to take me down. He can also grab that leg, like for a single or something like that. That's definitely not going to be good. So I need to make sure that's my back leg, has to be my center leg, right? And I'm throwing swift combatives and I'm putting it right back down. So if I was to do this, I would have to base out like this. I can kick to immediately throw some combatives. And then my personal favorite, notice how his head is kind of buried in the crook of my arm here. What I like to do is reach way out like this. So I'm changing because I'm manipulating his neck, so he's going to move with me with this pain compliance. I'm going to reach as far out as I can. I'm going to reach over and grab the top of his head because that's all I can reach right now. Top of the head, and now I'm going to go here. So I'm keeping his head where it is. I'm going to take my hand that's outstretched, go straight to his jaw. Now, if I twist your neck really hard, I bet you're going to fall down so that I don't break your neck. So I'm going to go here, switch my stance, boom, and then I'm out. Okay? So, then help your attacker right back up. And so as he tries to grab me, I'm way out. That's still super important. I hit, okay? Maybe I stomp on the knee, whatever I can get. And now watch. He's buried into the kind of the crook of my elbow. I reach. He's buried so deeply right now because he's a jiu-jitsu guy and he really wants to take me down that all I can really reach is here. If I can reach all the way to here, that's great too. Whatever, I just need to have a good position to crank on the neck. Okay? So I'm reaching, grabbing the top of the head. Now the hand that I'm reaching with goes right to the jaw. So both of my hands, the surface is on the same side of his face. Now as I turn, I don't want to just turn with my body. I might need a little bit more strength in that. So I'm going to kind of step to the outside a little bit so that I can circle back. So I'm going to be here. Boom. Notice he's practicing a good break fall. He's not reaching out to catch himself. He's just slapping the mat as he falls down. So let's practice this super slow motion a couple of times. Nice and slow. She's going to base out, making herself heavy on him. Kick with that back leg. And maybe he's so tall that she can't quite reach the groin. Again, she can be stomping. Exactly. Very good. Reaching. Yes. Yep, that's right. And then step back with your left. Don't worry about hurting him. He's going to fall. You worry about hurting your partner. Matt's done this, what did you say, 6 years now? He's been doing it for a little while, so he knows how to fall really well. You've got to go with your partner at home. Now reach, grab the forehead, grab the jaw. Good. Yeah, let's go, twist. Boom, that's nice. So notice that she's really having, especially because Matt is bigger than her, she's really having to step out so that she can change, right? So anytime I'm using pain compliance of any kind, whether he's got a knife in his hand and I'm reaching over, I've got something like this or something like this, or I'm grabbing his head, right? I would never want to just sit here with my little wrists or my little arms and try to get him to the ground. I'm going to use everything that I've got every time. So I'm going to spin with my whole body to get him down. Now, when we're doing this, we're going to have great angles. We're going to be taking care of our partners, all that kind of stuff. If I was really forced to do this in real life, obviously I wouldn't be too concerned with them getting hurt or not, because after all, they attacked me. So I'm just going to crank on it, and they're probably going to fall. And then, yes, there you go.
Really step back.
Boom, and step back, ready to go. And you know, when I took Matt down when I was demonstrating, I did some, simulated hammer fist to the face. I would want to do that just so he couldn't trip me up and start grappling with me. So if we can hit him, I'm not going to, reach over him too much. But I would do some sort of a parting shot, give him a parting gift, so to speak. And then I'm going to be sure to step back from him so he can't reach out and slap my foot into the other, make me fall down, something crazy like that. Oh, it's going to be a good one, she said. You got to kick, good, yeah. Reach, and go, twist. Oh, there's a parting gift, but you're close enough that he can grab you there. You gotta take her down if she does that again.
Okay.
And now look, Summer just brought something up. Now in Krav Maga, we're always kind of at war with our philosophy in the sense of there's no sets, there's no like a set combination. We're not doing forms here, we're not doing katas. And so as long as we're following the principle, we're doing it right. But we want to have good technique if possible. Now look, if we're practicing, we might as well practice doing it completely correct. And so again, I play with the tempo to make sure that I've got this down. Just now, Summer reached and she got here, but then she forgot to double up. Now look, if I squeeze really hard with my bicep and I yank my body as hard as I can, he's going to fall anyway. I'm still cranking on his neck, so it's still going to work, and that's the beauty of it. If we are violent and intense and we have a good idea of what we're doing, that it's going to work, but we're just going to double up and make sure we do it all the way correct. And now you're going to trip her if she's too close to you. Well, yeah, okay. Now don't purposely do that. Remember, you got to grab the jaw, like I was just talking about. Grab that chin. Grab the chin. Nice. Okay, that was good. All right, so now to wrap up this class, we're going to do a little review drill. We've essentially only done 3 techniques. We've talked about our shoulder roll, bob and weave. We've done bear hug, arms trapped, and bear hug, arms free. So we would do what we call a self-defense circle. If I have, it's really great if we have 5 or 6 or 20 or 40 people. Obviously, we don't have that many. But if we have multiple people, we can have people walking around us and then doing different attacks to us. But even just with one partner, I can stand here neutral with my eyes closed. I don't don't know which of those he's doing. Now we do want to be sure that we're practicing what we're covering in the class. So it would only be a haymaker to avoid, so I could avoid it with a bob and weave or a shoulder roll, or it would be a bear hug arms free or bear hug arms trap. So if I just kind of stand neutral and his eyes are closed, that way I can choose if I go over the arms or kind of shoot in here like this. So now Matt hasn't got to do anything this class. So on our review drill, Summer is going to attack Matt however she wants to. Well, one of those three things. You can come up and slap him, right? You can grab, bear hug, arms free, arms trap. He's going to have his eyes closed. He's just going to defend with pretty good intensity, and then he's going to go back to a neutral stance. So we're going to do a review drill to wrap up class. Neutral, eyes closed. However you want. Yeah, slap him. Okay, so let's talk about that. So if your eyes are closed, if I walk up and slap her, she's not going to defend because her eyes are closed, right? So I could go like this, and now I go for it, right? So notice, I didn't even tell her what to do, but as soon as I pushed her, she got right into her stance. That's great. Let's do that, okay? So if you just shoulder, but do something else. Because now he knows. Ooh. Nice. Close your eyes, Matt. You can't know what's coming. Good. I like how you're staying on that dead side. That's awesome. Good. And we didn't even review a break fall specifically with Summer, but notice that her body did what it was supposed to do. That's the nature of pain compliance. Even very, very quickly without consciously thinking of it, if my neck is in danger, I know that that's pretty important, so I'm probably going to fall down in order to alleviate that. So that was our review drill for today, guys. You guys did a fantastic job. Always be sure to stretch out whatever you need to in order to cool down. Don't just go sit down. Do some sort of a cool down, do some static stretches. Be sure you stretch everything out and feel great. Hope you had an awesome time today, and we will see you guys next week.